today I have a huge task. I need to unbox and take a quick look at Red Strike, Air, Land, and Naval Combat in Central Europe, 1989. This is a game by Yves Rittel and published by VUCA Simulations, which were kind enough to send this to me. Yes, I reached out to them asking about some of their games, and this was on the list because this is a Charles S. Roberts Award winner, multiple winner, including for upcoming or brand new designer for Yves Rittel. So this got quite a bit of attention and some critical acclaim. What is in this box? What is this about? Well, I think we got a little bit of an idea. We're talking about alternative history or alternative war, alternative modern war. I assume it's an alternative because I don't remember. I was around in 1989. I don't remember us going to war, but you know what? I might have missed it. This is quite a daunting task. I mean, look at the size of this box here. This is World War III. In fact, I've kind of avoided, there's the old SPI World War III that's been republished by Compass Games, and I've kind of avoided that. I've looked at that several times, looked at it on the shelf at my friendly local gaming store, looked at it online, put it in the bin, my shopping cart a few times, but never picked it out because I was like, God, that's so daunting. Will I ever get to it? Well, this is possibly equally as daunting. However, I think they've built in some mechanisms to make it not so challenging, and we'll talk about that when we get into it. But let's look at the back and see what we have here. Of course, you've got an example of some of the counters and the map board there. Complexity is an 8, and solitaire suitability is an 8. Interesting. The timeline is end of the Cold War, end of World War II, and up to 89, and that's when everything under this alternative timeline, that's when everything happens. Basically, Gorbachev is there's a coup ousting Gorbachev, and the Tsar of the Soviet Union take over to attack and destroy communism, attack and destroy capitalism, I should say. Capitalism. So that is the plan. So they attack Europe, as usually is the trope or the standard playbook when we see these kind of games. The game Red Strike is a war game simulating a hypothetical clash between NATO and Warsaw Pact armed forces in the summer of 1989. It covers operational land, air, and sea warfare in Central Europe and the Northern Atlantic, while also keeping an eye on the strategic situation around the world. Red Strike is a highly interactive game. Its detection and interception mechanisms allow for simultaneous action and reactions for both sides, having to constantly monitor the battlefield, minimize player downtime, and maximize their ability to recreate the very fluid what-if representation of Cold War gone hot. The mechanisms, I gotta get a little closer there, it's hard to read. See if you guys can read along too. The mechanisms can seem complex at first, but will soon become second nature. The rules that make up Red Strike, so it's hard to read here. Let me get a little closer. The rules that make up Red Strike, can't read that word that. Something interactive. Also make it perfect for team play. Players can divide responsibilities between air, ground, and possibly naval forces. The ground forces could be split by army, front, or corps. The crucial naval-air war over the North Atlantic can be played either by a standalone game or as part of a campaign scenarios. As would happen historically, its impact on the battlefield in Germany can be decisive. The interception and sinking of convoys carrying supplies and reinforcements making the difference between success and failure. So one of the things I think they kind of alluded to it a little bit on the back of this box, but there is kind of a learn as you go or a gradual step up in gameplay. There are some small, very small battle engagements. I think they might call them exercises, and then there are battles, and then there are campaigns. And so you can kind of gradually learn this game, and I think some of the earlier scenarios are even solitaire or solitaire friendly. I don't know if there's really a bot in here. I think you still play two-handed, but don't know for a fact. This is a huge undertaking, and looks quite complex, but most modern war, especially something that is doing the 80s plus, can be very, very complex. I mean, I think of the next war series but that's kind of future looking. Is present day and forward. I find that is one of the more complex series that I've dabbled with, but this looks very engaging. So let's get in here, see what we have in this box. This is a huge box, as you can see here. Go out a little bit so we can see a little bit more of this. And I think it needs to be a huge box. There's a lot to put back in the box. There's a lot of counters and what have you. But I think that unlike like World War III or the Third World War, they're not. This isn't set at the highest level and then just putting pieces together. I think it builds up with, again, those exercises and battles, and then up to the campaign, and even the campaign itself. There's a big map, but it's not the whole world. And there's a strategic map where you handle, strategic type things. They quote George W. Bush on the back of the box there, or they have a reference to him as president, and strategery. So we got to watch out for some strategery. Got two 10-sided die right there. Put those off here. We have the scenario book, which is a good thickness, and VUCA always is full color. And here's a Warsaw Pact illustrations, here resources, order of battle, publisher notes, designer notes. Looks like we got an example of play. So we're looking at 41 with an example of play in there as well. Here's NATO unit illustrations on the front, contents and introduction. And then you got all these scenarios. So these are exercise scenarios. And when we get to the maps, you're going to see these are very small, and they really don't have a ton of, let's see, this has 10 ground units, this has 8 ground units. You're not talking a lot of counters, like low density encounters, small space. This is really made or designed to learn the rules and get a little bit familiar with gameplay before you get to the hot and heavy stuff, right? So there's a lot of different scenarios in here. Here's up to 10. And those are exercise scenarios. Then you get the battle scenarios. Fulda Gap, got to have that. Berlin Blockade. So we've got 6 battle scenarios, and then you got the campaign scenarios. And these are much larger engagements. And you're going to need, I imagine you're going to need the strategic map involved as well, and we'll take a look at that. But and then we get into... here's a combat air control. This is like an example, I think, of some of the rules or some of the play. Aircraft is very important in this game. Naval on the strategic map, I think, is important. So anyway, that's the scenario book. And then here is the rule book. It is hefty as well, topping in at 53 pages with an index in the back and a contents in the front. Dual column. And a little bit, the VUCA is usually pretty good on the type font. This one is not super small, but it's pretty dense. Now we've got a lot of illustrations in here, as you can see, but relatively dense text here. God, look at all those charts. So, this is a comp. They say 8. Sometimes I usually find that game companies overinflate solitaire play and under evaluate complexity. So this is every bit of an 8, I would imagine, if not a little bit more. So what do we got here? Oh, we got another book here. What are these things? Got 2 of these. These are your player aids books. So you need a player aid for the book here. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff here. What do we got here? We've got train effects and all kinds of different charts and a lot of information. Yeah, just the sheer volume there, just, you know, drips of complexity or potential complexity. Let's put it at potential right now. So a lot of stuff there. There's an example of the counters again. That's good. We got 2 of those for each player. Got some cards in here. I really don't think this is card driven. I think it's more card assisted, but I'll stand to be corrected. We got some pads here to mark off stuff. Then we've got a nice air naval combat resolution, and that's kind of mounted. That's a nice little board there. And then this is a player aid. It's a track, 2 of them here. And this is your Red Strike track sheet and some kind of general track, victory points, and air combat resolutions. And they're pretty nice. They're thicker, and they kind of have a little bit of a glossy finish on it. So those are nice. Then we have the maps. We'll pull those out and look at those a little bit later. Then we got all the players. There's a lot in this box, folks. A lot in this box. I can't even get to it all. I just cannot get to it all. It's so much. Oh my God. Look at that. Look at all that. Can you believe that? These are all different setup charts. I'm not going to be able to go through all these, but they're double-sided. And these are all the different setup charts for all those different scenarios that we saw. Reinforcements. And these are, so I think these are, the black is exercises, B's are battles, and C's are campaigns. So, look at that. Gee, many Christmas. There's a lot of stuff in there. A lot of stuff in there. Okay. Getting excited yet? All right. This is a exercise map. So this is one of the maps. There's another one on the back side for one of those exercises. This is for number 1. And you've got your air up there, but then the board is relatively small. And so that's why I say these exercises are kind of meant to teach you the game. It looks like you're going to have some naval in that one. And then we have some of your air tracks for air bases. Got to keep track of all of them. They're single-sided because they'll be off to the side of the map. And you got quite a few of them for both sides. And some neutral countries in there as well. Wow, that's a lot of stuff there. Okay. Oops, I'm flipping it all over the place. All right, what is this? This is interesting. Black and white. It's on good card stock. All right, there's the counters. Look at these counters. See if you can get an idea of the depth of this. Oh, my goodness. That's a deep box. Let's look at some of these counters here. Because this is how many counters you get in this box. I got to say, this might be the most counters I've ever pulled up. This, I think, if you play one of the campaign games, would qualify as a monster. I think there's over 2,000 counters. Good thickness, good quality from VUCA. Very colorful, but a lot of them in here. Just a lot going on in this. Oh, that doesn't look good. Look, got some nuclear clouds there. Do I have these upside down? I got them upside down. Let's do. How about that? Let's look at them right side up here. Let's go in a little bit closer. Ooh, going over on this one. So there we go. A lot of information on there, and they are dual-sided. There's those mushroom clouds. That can't be good. I mean, really, that can't be good. But, you know, we are talking 2 nuclear powers going toe-to-toe. There's a lot of those on the bottom there. Too many. So you've got air, a lot of air, and you saw those different charts for air bases. You've got naval. Now, there's not a ton of scenarios that look like that has naval, but I think on the strategic map, maybe that comes into play. Not certain. And then you've got the rest is land, and that's really what this is mostly about. Golly. And then you got some markers here. Keep track of some stuff. And then it looks like we have some step counters there. My goodness. And some more markers. I'm going through this fast, people, and they're still not even close to getting it all. All right, I'm going to take a quick break and lay out some maps. All right, let's see if we can get to a few of these maps. We looked at these earlier. These are the kind of the nice, thick player or kind of player aid type material maps. Then we have these paper maps, but they're like reinforced paper. They have like a extra surface on it. So this is a battle of the Fulda Gap. This is B1. You've got your map, so not a lot of area on there, but you've got a lot of your charts on here too, and your air bases and the like. Then we have B2 and B3. Look at that. A lot of stuff going on here. They fold up somewhat like that. Here is B4. B4 what? Not a lot of area, mostly taken up by the tracks and the air bases, but there you have that. And then you've got E5 and E9, so Northern Oil. I imagine this is going to be some naval units here, so we can see here. Then this is the strategic map. So this is for really going to be important, I think, in the campaigns and like dealing with supply and the like. Let's put it up. Let's put it right side up. I just flip this out really quick. So here is Europe, and you've got Norway and Great Britain, and you got Iceland, and you got United States over here. So actually, North America, you got Canada over here. So there is that map. Then we have the top part of the campaign map, which is Denmark and part of Scandinavia up here, and a lot of the North Sea. And then on the bottom side of this, you have the rest of the part of Europe that it covers. So you've got Paris over here and Berlin over here. So, and everything in between there. So there you have it. That is all the stuff that you get in a box of Red Strike. Look at those counters, my God. A lot of stuff in here. Still not sure what this one is, but all these air bases. Let's get those out here. All these setup cards, and these are nice thick stock setup cards. You got these tracks here. You got pads in here. You've got player aids in here. You've got rule books. You got scenario books and rule books in here. Let's put this here. You've got cards. I didn't even get a chance to open up the deck of cards. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this box. Yes, my friends, that is Red Strike. Quite an undertaking. And this is that designer's first game, and he ended up winning a couple of Charles S. Roberts, not only for the game but for himself as a new designer. So I'm going to crack open some of these cards and see what we got in here. These look kind of like event cards. Civil War in Yugoslavia. So that's kind of interesting. And but as I said, this is a massive game. I think he spent like, I don't know, a decade or two working on this and coming up with this. I think he started wargaming in the 70s, late 70s, and had this as an idea to bring to realization. So there you have it. So that is all the stuff you get in a box of Red Strike. I gotta say, I believe I haven't played it, so I don't know about the gameplay, but just by the sheer volume, looks complex and looks worthy of at least a look at the Charles S. Roberts, and actually won a few. So that's what I have for you today. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you played this, let me know. If you played the campaign game, please let us know. As I said, I'm probably going to start off with the exercises and work my way up to the battles. Don't know if I ever get to the campaign, right? I don't know if you, I think you can still get a lot out of this game without ever having to get to that, but I'm going to work my way up to it. Anyway, thanks all for stopping by, and let me know what you think. Take care. Thanks for watching.